Hello and welcome to the Insanegorillazz podcast. This week we're going to be talking about Porco Rosso. Yay, a Studio Ghibli film. An actually
Yes.
legit Studio Ghibli film, not the Mary and the Witch's Flower. This week we are going without video just because of internet problems, so you don't get to see our beautiful faces. Sorry about that. Hopefully we didn't
Well,
ruin your
Matt's
week.
beautiful face.
Or
Not so much.
we both
But
got
okay,
beautiful
I'm just
faces,
kidding.
I guess.
Yeah, yeah, I'd say so. They're on the pretty, I'd say better than average scale. I'd say scale length.
Not handsome Squidward,
Just like,
but maybe like it's more SpongeBob, just average. So
I think SpongeBob's like as low as you could get probably in terms of
Patrick,
that.
do we want to do?
Patrick?
No, I think Patrick's terrible.
Pinhead? I
Patrick's
would
the
love to look
absolute
like
worst.
Patrick. Fits the human archetype. He's got four limbs. Well, five limbs, but but one's a head. So I think that'd work really well. With the, you know, makes a much better humanoid structure than a sponge.
Yeah, except he grows his limbs back. So I don't think humans do that. But, but
Kind of broken.
before we get off topic, let's go back to Porco Rosso and try to talk
All
about
right.
Porco Rosso, and then we can get off topic near the end. Do you want to talk about the story of Porco Rosso, or do you want me to try to summarize the film in its entirety? Um,
Well, I mean, you watched it today, right?
I
Or
watched it
yesterday?
yesterday.
Yeah, because I watched this. The last time I watched Porco Rosso was like, trying to think, like probably a couple months ago, so relatively recently. It's like, so I remember everything is like a vague, you know,
It's
like
all a blur. No.
misty fog. Yeah, yeah, it's all a blur. Some things I definitely remembered, so I
Okay.
guess maybe tell me the movie as you perceived it, and I'll commentate. Right?
Okay. So it's about the what is it? It's the Crimson Pig, I think, is what they call him. Who is Porco Rosso? It's just his little nickname. And it follows him and his relationships with like just a bunch of people. Like
Yeah.
he's an anthropomorphic pig that it's never really explained why he's a pig, which is
Magic.
yeah, but they never really explain. They never really show that him turning into a pig. They show him going to heaven or something. Um,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then is that when he turned into a pig? And then as the story goes on, you find out that there's a woman named Gina who has a crush on him, and like a really like an American ace pilot who challenges Porco Rosso for not the girl named Gina because Gina says, "Oh, I'll never love you" or something, but he goes for the 17-year-old girl. And the ages in this thing don't make any sense because I'm pretty sure like 40 and Porco's like 30, like late 30s at least. And he has a crush on this 17-year-old girl named Theo. Um
No, I think his relationship with her was more like think about it like this, right? He doesn't actually want to be with that girl. Like he just wants to make sure that she's not with the older guy because he's obviously a fucking, piece of shit, like womanizer, degenerate, gambler. You know what I mean? All the stereotypes. Like, you know what I mean? So I feel like he has almost like a fatherly role towards her. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I mean, he does flirt a little
the only
bit.
problem I have with your theory is constantly Piccolo, I think it's Piccolo, right? Let me I have all the names up because I'm so used to butchering everyone's name. Picaro.
Wait, that just reminded me of something. Do you remember that fucking time you called Casca Mikasa?
I was thinking of Attack on
You
Titan at the time, and
you called fucking Casca Mikasa, bro. What the? Sorry, I just remember
yeah,
that.
and then I pronounced Mikasa as Mikasa.
Mikasa, Mikasa. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, but I have a tendency to butcher names, so I have the whole list of people up here. It's Picaro is the dad, or not the dad, like the uncle to Fio, I think. And he kind of makes
I think it's her
jokes
dad.
about he makes jokes about them getting together. Like you're not gonna date my daughter or my niece or whatever. He kind of constantly
Can
is
you
making
say?
that. Also, this movie is so offensive to pigs everywhere because they're
Very
always
good.
calling him pig-headed. Oh, you're such a pig. And it's just
It's a metaphor. It's a metaphor.
yeah, but I think Porco just accepts it. He also calls himself like insults and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But
It's a nice detail because he'll be like, he'll go to the bar or something, right? And then he'll be like, someone will say something like really melodramatic, like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" And he'll be like, "Nothing but a dirty pig." And then he smokes his cigarette and walks out the door. Some shit like that. I love Porco Rosso. The character himself, I love so much.
he almost
Oh man.
reminds me of the detective, the cheesy detective in those old
Yeah,
detective movies because he's always
he's
smoking and then he's drinking and then he's just like all he's in the corner alone, just like yeah, this is how I live life.
he's Columbo. He's Columbo,
Yeah,
man. That's
basically.
who he is.
But I like Porco's character a lot. It's just he's just there's not really a reason to like him so much, but he's like Columbo. Basically,
Except I
he's
do.
he's not very socially inept with people, but then there's times when he's really kind and nice. Like at the beginning of the movie, it opens with him like saving a bunch of children from pirates.
Yeah, bunch of little girls. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's the thing about him is that he's, I think really one of the big themes about this movie is like masculinity, like the kind of modern idea of masculinity compared to like I don't know war. I guess if I had to put it in a way, it's like he kind of I feel like Porco's appearance is like a representation of a like social view on men or on you know what I mean.
yeah,
It's kind of hard to explain, but it's kind of like a symbolic representation of I guess you could say his insecurities too. Like he looks that way, and it is magic. It is a result of magic, obviously, but it's like the only magical element in the film because it basically serves no purpose. Like, I mean that in the best way, as in people don't notice. You know what I mean? People don't
yeah.
notice that he's like. I mean, they do. They acknowledge it. Like he, this is a fucking pig person that I'm talking to, but they don't like. It's not a big deal. It's like immediately they just that's just how he is.
They
You know what
treat
I mean?
him just normally. Yeah,
Yeah,
about the
yeah, yeah.
masculinity thing is also he when he goes and gets his plane fixed after the big accident, is all the women are working on his plane and he's just like I'm not with that, and so, so that kind of points
Oh
out
yeah, yeah.
that
He's
his
very old fashioned.
insecurities, he's very old fashioned.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you
Um,
can't hate him. You can't hate him for it.
No. One thing I did want to mention was that this movie feels like basically it's just a bunch of side missions. Like, you know how in games you have all the side missions? I feel like this is like all the side missions are bringing the story, like taking the story forward. So, him saving the girls, him getting in the fight with the American, and then him getting fighting the American at the end, but the whole story is based around his relationship really about with the Gina character, which is
Hmm.
also Gina. Something I did notice was Gina's seaplane says has the letter G on the side, but then it's spelled J with a J in the Japanese version. I don't
Hmm.
know if the Japanese version has some sort of difference between what's on the boat or what's on the seaplane and
What's
what's not.
spoken?
Yeah, and I
Hmm.
I
It's
have
possible.
my copy of Porco Rosso. was in Japanese, so I had to try to find an English subtitle and try to read Japanese to find the
Oh
English
my God, is
subtitle.
that how you watched? Is that how you watched the movie?
Yeah, it's an American copy of the film, but it's
Whoa, whoa,
all
whoa,
in
whoa, whoa!
Japanese.
Is it that DVD I gave you? Is it like that collection
No,
of
no, I
DVDs?
have a Blu-ray version of all of Hayao Uzumaki,
Yeah, Miyazaki.
Miyazaki,
Uzumaki.
Miyazaki.
Yeah,
I have all
Uzumaki.
of his films and stuff, all just in a bundle basically. I got it for like $30, and I was fine with it. I was like, "Yep, it.
Damn, I wish I would have kept my DVDs then.
Hey, I'll send it to you."
I mean, if you will, I'll take you up on that because I watch Studio Ghibli movies all the time. This is the first time we're covering one on here, though, isn't it? This is
Yeah,
the first Ghibli movie.
a legit Ghibli movie. We had
Wow.
that Mary and the Witch's Flower, which was affiliated almost with it, but not quite Ghibli.
We should do
So
a whole. We should do a whole month. Hear me out. We should do a no. We should do a whole year where we do nothing but Studio Ghibli movie
I don't think
reviews.
there's
Okay.
enough films for a whole year.
No, there'd be for about half a year. There's like 20 something like last time I checked, like 21 or something like that. There's only one I haven't seen.
Hey,
There's only
now
one
there's
I
only
haven't seen.
20 left. Because after this one, we'll only have 20
It's
left.
true. Wait till we get to fucking Palm Poco. It's the
Yeah,
one with the raccoons that can shape shift their balls
I
into
vote, I
they can
vote
shape shift
Spirited
their
Away.
nuts.
Spirited Away is so good.
That is also a very good one. But that reminds me actually, you know that Hayao Miyazaki actually, I don't know how to word this, but I don't want to say he doesn't like it, this movie, but he has said that he regrets making this entire movie. Like, he said he completely regretted making it.
What's his
I
reason?
mean, I'm paraphrasing. Uh, well, because he said that he was supposed to make, or that he like, I don't know, he like makes movies. He was saying I make movies for kids. It was supposed to be a kids movie, but it wasn't. What I mean, like that was a film for adults with adult themes, stuff like that. He said that's why he regretted it, which is kind of ironic because, I mean, for me, I personally think this is the most underrated Ghibli movie of them all. Like, are none. This is my favorite one out of all of them, and I've seen them all many times, except for my neighbors, the Yamadas. That's the only one I haven't seen, and all the others I've seen lots of times. And this one like shines the very brightest to me out of all the Ghibli movies because it like reaches that like balance between fantasy, like you know what I mean, like the over the top
Yeah.
fantasy creativity that we see from Ghibli, and like the down to earth character writing that Hayao Miyazaki is so good at. You know what I mean? I feel like it matches a perfect balance between those strengths of his. So the fact that he regrets it is like every time I hear him say that, because I think he said it in a documentary or something. Every time he says that, I just think, oh, why? You know what I mean? Like why? It's such a good movie.
Yeah, I
Just a little
think
side note.
it surprises me that this is the one he doesn't like for like a or he's regrets because of the adult themes and stuff because some of the other Ghibli movies do get into more adult themes and stuff. This one just has more of a sense of realism backing it up.
Right,
Like
right, right.
the
Yeah,
planes
yeah.
and stuff, and that's the only real thing. Because you have My Neighbor Totoro and then Spirited Away, which are based off of these like are they're spirits, and they're really what pushes and drives the story forward. Um, but in this one, the only person really driving the story forward is Porco Rosso and Fio.
Well, yeah. I mean, pretty much, yeah. The whole movie is basically uses Porco himself to frame everything else. You know what I mean? It's not a movie that's about a bunch of other people. It's about Porco's singular perspective and how that, you know what I mean? How he sees things reflects a wider idea. You know what I mean? Like that's through him we see the connections about like war and masculinity and like even age, really, like the passage of time and like kind of mindset that he gets into. I don't know. The whole
Well,
thing
he's
is
also a good example of how war can affect people differently. Because some people get like PTSD and stuff, and some people remember it as like I had a chance to survive or like something, and that's what kept me going. Porco is very much the person that like he survived, and he's like I got given another chance, so I took it.
I kind of disagree actually. I mean yeah, he is like that, but I think that he does have PTSD. I think he absolutely has PTSD. I think that's the way I think the reason why he looks the way he does is a manifestation of his survivor's guilt. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And that in its own way is like, you know, I wouldn't maybe it isn't necessarily PTSD as we think of it, but he definitely came away negatively from his experiences. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like when he's talking to Gina, and this is something I just realized actually is you could see Gina as a connection to the past, whereas what's her name? Theo, right?
Theo's the little girl. Yeah,
Right, yeah, and Fio is a connection to the future. You know what I mean? So Gina feels like something that has been left behind almost in his past that he still interacts with her, you know what I mean? She's a part of his life, but it's not something that he can entertain the thought of, you know what I mean? Not that Theo is a romantic option. I don't really think that was the intention at all. I'm not even speaking in a romantic way about their relationship. I'm just saying she represents future, you know what I mean? She represents the everything from now until there, and then Gina represents everything that's happened before, you know, now to then.
yeah. I see that. Well, also the thing with the American soldier, the American airplane pilot is kind of the younger version of Porco, um, as well. So
Kind of has that fire, that drive, you know what I mean?
yeah, and that's
So
why I think Porco at the end has respect for the American person, the American
yeah, yeah.
pilot. So
They're a little bit the one thing that reminds me also about one thing I really love about this movie is that um it's not like anyone's truly bad. You know what I mean? Like in a lot of stories I'm not necessarily opposed to the idea of there being a definitive bad guy and a definitive good guy. I mean, look at, you know, Lord of the Rings, look at, you know, any number of old, you know, whatever. Not even old, like newer
well, the
stuff. It's
Dark
just not
Knight.
necessary. Yeah, even the Dark Knight, like, well, actually, I would disagree there also because it's not really trying to make a morality statement. It's trying to make like a, I'm sorry, I got burp. It's trying to make a statement on like justice and chaos. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's not really making a statement on the morality of it. I mean, it is. It's talking about it, but it's kind of saying this is what happens when this goes too far. This is what happens when this goes too far, and that's kind of how Harvey Dent comes into play too, as a representation of like almost absurdist justice. But anyway, that's not
yeah,
here nor there. But but yeah, I don't know. It's no characters are really evil or bad. You know what I mean? Like the even the pirates who kidnap little girls, like
yeah,
the way that they act, the way that they're treated in the story, it's almost like it's like so whimsical that it might not even have happened. You know what I mean? It's so comical. It's so played up. So it's like the sense of weight isn't like life or death. You know what I mean? It's just like energetic. It's spontaneous. It's happening. You know what I mean? It's like there are moments where it's like, oh, there's lots of violence and blah blah blah. In a way, like, but it's still like comical though. You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
not meant to be like some super serious. It's just making a very subtle statement about just a very particular set of things, and that's what I really like about it. It's a very laid back, very subtle, very, you know what I mean? It's a
yeah,
very unique movie in
yeah.
that sense.
Well, throughout, even at the beginning of the movie, the pirates aren't really the bad guys. They take care of the little girls almost. They kidnap the little girls because they were told to by the group of pirates. They just do what they're told. I don't think they have.
Right.
Sometimes they're not really that smart. I don't even think throughout the storyline they're that smart.
They
But that's
can
kind
come
of
back. They come back into the
yeah.
story as a
At the
positive. You know what I mean?
yeah, at the end they kind of help Theo, but also they think she's pretty and she's the future of engineering. So they were like, yeah, she can help do our seaplanes and fix our seaplanes. Um, so I think, yeah, the pirates are not like really the bad guys, and that's shown throughout the story as they kind of become almost like a good guy and like they kind of get in the way of like, well, I'm not sure how I want to say that because I don't think that's how I want to
Well,
say that. But
people are just being people in the
yeah,
movie. You know what I mean? People are just
yeah,
being people. They're doing. You could argue if we, you know what I mean. You could argue that that Porco is a bad guy if you really wanted to. You know what I mean? He steals things. He's hiding from the government, running from the government. You know what
he
I
does
mean?
everything for
Has
money.
massive firearms to for money. He's a bounty hunter. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like you could if you wanted to you could argue that, but it's not trying to make that point. It's trying to say this is the level of depth that any given person has. You know what I mean? So it's like Porco's just one example. You know what I mean? And that's what I mean kind of when I say we see the world only through his eyes. It takes everything in the movie, everything, and juxtaposes it just between his life and these other people. So we get to, you know what I mean? It makes you kind of imagine, or it makes me imagine, I should say. It makes me think about like, you know, what's going on through this person's head, what's going on through this person's head, or you know what I mean, and the specifics of what happens to Porco Rosso you don't even know specifically, you know what I mean, like it's alluded to what happens, like in some scenes with Gina where they're talking about it, you know, it's kept, but it's kept very very like short and very vague, so it's almost like you're kept wondering, you know,
yeah,
and that's something I really really admire about this film because there are points in the movie where something will happen, like because like I said earlier, the only magical aspect of this movie is Porco himself, you know what I mean, it's the only magical aspect. Completely, there's nothing else other than things revolving around Porco himself. I mean there are some scenes where he sees things, where he sees illusions and stuff, but that's not what's actually happening. So, my favorite scene, this ties into what I was saying, but my favorite scene in the movie is where they're on the beach and it's nighttime and it's just him and Fio in their private cave, in Porco's private cave hideout. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And he's sitting there talking. He's like philosophizing. I don't know if that's the right word, but he's opening up to Theo a little bit about his past, about the way he feels about himself. You know what I mean? He becomes very he opens up his insecurities a lot to her. And then um, for a moment, just a moment, she sees him as just a normal person. You know what I mean?
yeah.
She sees it's just for like one frame or something. She looks at him or something. I don't remember exactly what happened because it's been a minute since I watched it, but she looks at him and like his it's his normal face for just one frame, and then it's like wow, you know what I mean? It's just nothing needs to be explained. It's just you just feel it, you understand it in that moment. You know what I mean? It's so mysterious, like it makes you think like what why did that happen? Was it just an illusion? Is this really him turning back into a human? It's like maybe opens up the possibility that maybe he didn't look like a pig at all the whole time. Maybe that was literally just a metaphor, but visually only. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe the reason why people maybe the reason why people don't react so strangely to him is because maybe he is literally just a person and what we're seeing is a reflection of how he sees himself, you know what I mean? Entirely. Just a personification, if you will, about, you know what I mean? Him being a pig. That's just genius to me, I think. It's absolutely brilliant. So, I don't know. That type of imagination is really what I value most in in this movie. As with all Studio Ghibli movies, Hayao
I
Miyazaki is a genius.
I can see where you're coming from that perspective. Yeah, it's almost seems like it's a metaphor, but then there are times where they definitely mention him being a pig that kind of takes you out from that. But then they could
I
just be
don't know. He
mentioning his
definitely is.
personality. But
Yeah.
at the end, the one thing that really kills your idea of the metaphor, even though it is definitely a metaphor, or it's
Yeah.
like we're the ones that see him as the pig, is the last scene where you see him in the American, and then the American notices that his face has changed because he's kind of opened up to someone. He's kind of
Oh
created
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
relationship. That's what the big thing about Porco is, that he doesn't want to have deep relationships with anyone, not even with Gina, really. Like, when he's at the restaurant, he'll only talk to her for a little bit, and then he leaves as if, like, oh, I don't want
Yeah.
to get into a conversation about the past or anything, really, because then we're creating a relationship. Um, and of course, him being a soldier could be related to that, because he had lost all his friends, all even the enemies, all in that one battle. He lost all his
Hmm.
friends and enemies, and he mentions them specifically, his friends, as he sees them float up into the sky, basically into heaven. Um,
Yeah.
so
And in that moment he contemplates. Also, if I remember correctly, this could just be me totally losing my mind, but if I remember correctly, he kind of ruminates on the thought that not only did all of his friends die, but you know what I mean. Everyone in that whole situation was their own person as well. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I feel like that's something that he definitely noticed. But I should clarify. I don't literally think that he isn't a pig. I think it's pretty clear that he is, but I think the only function of it basically is metaphor. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's like clearly he is, but the movie reason why the characters don't react to it is the same reason why you don't. You know what I mean? You just accept it because it's like movie, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, oh, it's whatever. It's happening in the movie. But for them, it's almost like the same kind of logic. It's not that it's a movie. It's just that's for whatever reason. That's just how he is, and they accept it. You know what I mean? Really explainable. So the only purpose really is a metaphor. I should just needed to
yeah,
clarify that. Sorry.
yeah. What is it? I'm trying to think. My favorite scene is, it's not really important as a storyline, but some of the animations they do where Porco is flying over like just different lands and different places are really stunning. Like the way they
Oh
move.
yeah.
Sometimes they become almost trippy because it's the plane's moving really, really fast, and you're seeing these places go by like crazy fast. But they're really nice. Even when Porco comes back with his new plane and is flying around Gina's restaurant, or is it Gina's garden? I think they're both at the same place.
I think they're the same thing.
But he's flying around, and you see like Gina just standing there and looking up at the sky, and you're basically in Porco's plane flying around the island, and it's just really cool that it's almost like a 3D animation of it.
Yeah.
But it's definitely 2D animation.
And that was all hand drawn. It
Yeah,
was all hand drawn. For digital animation was super popular. You know, because well, when did Porco Rosso come out? 1993?
1990,
1990.
1992. I have
Oh,
it up on the thing.
1992. Okay. I was close. Hey, good guess though. I
You
was
were
close.
close.
Yeah. But yeah, animation of course is always stellar. I mean, I almost said name a Studio Ghibli movie that has bad animation, but there actually is one. So, uh, it's called Ocean Waves, and it was made by like Studio Ghibli's fucking D team. I mean, making any type of animated movie, obviously, is incredibly difficult. So it's like not trying to say that they're absolute garbage because they're not, right? They're not. I don't know if you've seen it or not. Have you seen Ocean Waves?
No, but we will probably cover that on our year of
Yeah,
Studio Ghibli.
yeah, our whole year of Studio
The
Ghibli.
year of
No, no,
Ghibli.
no. It'd be pretty. It's a cool concept. Yeah, no, but pretty much every Studio Ghibli movie, you know what I mean? for the thing about Ghibli is that they really check all the boxes for me. You know what I mean? They check every single every single box for me. Like it's creative. You know what I mean? Visually, it's beautiful. Amazing characters, amazing music. Like the music was by Joe Hisaishi or Joe Hisashi. I forget how to say it. There you go. There's my more. But anyway,
Okay. Okay.
that's a it's super.
Ty, you're starting to cut out. I think Ty is
Yeah.
starting to die. Are you back or are you gone? He might be gone.
Okay.
Oh,
You hear me? Can you hear me?
yes. Yes.
Badly did I? How badly did I cut out?
It was I yeah, it was a bit all over the place. Uh
How long?
just for a little bit. Not that long at all.
Okay.
Just
I was
you
just talking about the music direction.
yeah.
I
Um
mean, music composition.
yeah. What is it? The thing I really like about Studio Ghibli is how their themes, they have a lot of just
Mhm.
thematic elements. And they have adult themes usually mixed in with like themes that children can understand. And they're
Yeah.
even Grave of the Fireflies, which
Oh God, I would not. I would
wait,
not show it to my kids. It's a great movie, but I wouldn't
wait,
show it to my kids. I
didn't
don't
we
think.
didn't we cover Grave of the Fireflies?
We did. Oh shit. So
This
this
isn't the
isn't the first Studio
first.
Ghibli.
No, this isn't the
No.
first.
This is the second.
Man, I forgot all about. Maybe we should. The one thing
Damn, dude.
I did find really funny about Studio Ghibli is how all the kids look the same.
Yeah, that's kind of an
All the
art
children
style.
on the seaplane at the beginning of the movie all look the same.
They're all literally the same
They're
children.
just clones with different hair colors.
They're just clones. Yeah. That's a. I kind of like it. I like that. Hayao Miyazaki has this distinct style. You know what I mean? Because the animations look like his art style. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's.
I think it also makes it easier instead of drawing just 12 different faces for each kid. It's just easier to make one
Yeah,
and
yeah.
just copy and paste basically.
Yeah, and it's a facial structure that because Hayao Miyazaki's art style is less like super lots of you know what I mean? Not lots of like hatch lines and it's not like a fucking manga or something with like everyone's faces has like a distinctly sculpted jawline and you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
well,
that's not really the point.
you don't really need it for this because it's a
Yeah, no,
short
no.
film. It's an hour and 33 minutes long with credits. So it's not a long film at all. And the only time you should really make distinct facial features on characters is when they're important to the story. So
Right.
I don't think if you have like a side character, like they're basically stormtroopers in a story. There's no need for them
Yeah,
to be
yeah, yeah, yeah.
different.
Don't need to be super distinguished because they represent a a mass of characters instead of specific important characters, you
Yeah.
know. So yeah, Studio Ghibli, I feel like they've mastered the art of finding the beauty and simplicity more than anything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well,
Like the narrative structure is. Oh, go ahead.
there's also moments where like they use simplicity in like something very complicated. Like Spirited Away,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
example, is like you have all these different spirits, and then a lot of the maids look similar to each other, running the I forget the sauna type thing. It's like a bathhouse. Yeah, it's a bathhouse.
Spa or bathhouse, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the maids or the people working there that are human look very similar to each other, and then some of the spirits look similar. But there's a lot of just like very complicated animation going on in like one scene in Spirited Away. But then it also simplifies like certain characters. It like
Yeah, everything is like vibrant and distinct, but at the same time, it's like not more complicated than it needs to be. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah, it's almost like have you seen how they do like fill football stadiums with special effects? How they like record one person
Maybe.
doing like a dance or something or cheering, and then they have that same person switch outfits and do it multiple times just in different outfits, and then they add
Damn, I did
groups
not
of
know that.
people. I'm using so many hand gestures, but there's no. I also
There's no
keep
video.
I also keep nodding and stuff when you're talking for, and I'm agreeing with you, but I don't. I just keep forgetting that there's no video. But well, in like what is it, Bohemian Rhapsody? Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
That's one we probably should cover. With Freddie Mercury and everything. Well, at the end they have this big football stadium, or not? It's soccer slash football stadium. Um,
Hmm.
Filled with just tons of people, and all they did was copy and paste groups, like groups of actors, and to fill up a whole stadium, basically. I don't know if I'm saying
Huh.
if I'm if I'm doing this saying this the best way I can, but they just copy and paste, and it's actually super simplistic, but it looks extremely difficult to make. And that's kind of how
Huh.
they do Spirited Away is you have different spirits, but then oh, here's one spirit that looks similar to this one, but it's just a different size. So
Yeah.
that's how they kind of make it simple in Spirited Away, but they're all very vibrant colors and stuff, and that's how it makes it look kind of complicated. But
Yeah. I mean, and we really could cover every single Ghibli movie on here. I I really I want to get a Ghibli tattoo. I just don't know what I need it, what I want it to be. You know what I mean? I want
yeah,
it to be like colorful, probably, but then you know what I mean? I don't know. It's a whole thing. But this actually reminded me. Um, I don't know if I've told this before because it's a Ghibli story, but I might have said this in Grave of the Fireflies. But have I ever told you about what happened when Disney acquired the rights to publish um, Studio Ghibli movies in English?
I don't
Mm.
think you did in Grave of the
Okay,
Fireflies, but I could be wrong. But
it's way more interesting than it sounds. Okay, so basically, the person who was in charge. So this happened with Princess Mononoke. Okay, I'm pretty sure most Ghibli fans probably know this. Like hardcore Ghibli fans probably know this. But when they were bringing over Princess Mononoke, Harvey Weinstein was in charge of doing the final cut. He was in charge of producing it. Okay, Harvey Weinstein, right? You know what I mean, and I don't want to get started on how much I hate Hollywood and celebrities in general. I'm not even. I'll sound like some kind of radical, crazy person. But anyway, so so basically, Harvey Weinstein wanted to cut down Princess Mononoke by like half an hour, something ridiculous like that. Like he wanted to cut down the movie by half an hour, and Hayao Miyazaki found out about that.
what was his
He
reasoning?
sent I don't know, something about fuck. Has something to do with I
Because
don't
that's
know.
a large chunk of a movie to cut, and
Yeah, he
if
cut
I'm
out
the director or the artist or producer on that movie, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna no, then you can't have the movie. I'm just gonna, I'll snap at somebody
he
if I
well, here, let
if
me
that
pull up the
happens.
I'm gonna pull up the I'm gonna pull up the exact thing so I don't fuck it up because this is like an unbelievable
Yeah.
thing. Sorry. That probably I'm sorry. Okay. I'll read this to you. This is what happens if you look up Harvey Weinstein Hayao Miyazaki. Okay? Internationally famed Japanese director Hayao Miyazaki once sent a genuine katana to Miramax head Harvey Weinstein, implicitly threatening the consequences the producer might face if any edits were made to Studio Ghibli's Princess Mononoke for its American release.
Holy crap!
so, Yeah, he sent him an actual katana and basically threatened to kill him if he made any cuts. I think it said something super cool too, like something like if you cut the movie, I cut you or some shit like that.
Oof. Yeah.
Oh no, it said I think it said like I think he sent the katana and it said no cuts on it. That's like the most fucking threatening thing that someone could
That's
do.
something you'd hear in a mafia movie almost. Or like a
It is,
Yakuza
dude.
movie or something. Like, oh, here, send them the
Yes.
katana. I'd, if I had sent them a katana, I'd be like, you better protect yourself.
It aged like fine wine though. That whole thing aged like fine wine.
What?
Like,
what is
ah.
it Martin Scorsese who also threatened to do that when.
No, no, no. I think what happened was is Martin Scorsese, Hayao Miyazaki. So I think Martin Scorsese sent him a letter, something like that. You know what? I'm just gonna look up fucking Hayao Miyazaki, Martin Scorsese, because fucking why not? Because I know Miyazaki like rejected him or something.
I know Martin
Uh,
Scorsese with his movies are he's just over the top. Like if you mess with any little piece of his movie or any like cut any part, he's just gonna flip out. He'll threaten to kill someone. He's just over the top with that stuff. Uh,
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, basically what happened is Martin Scorsese sent a invite, like a personal invite to Hayao Miyazaki because he's like, I love your films. You know, we should hang out sometime. Basically, that's the long and short of it. And then Miyazaki basically was just like, no, I want nothing to do with you.
that's perfect.
He
I
also
wonder how he
said Hayao
reacted.
Miyazaki. He was probably a little bit miffed, but I mean that'd be pretty fucking. That's a pretty Chad thing to do. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, Martin
I'd have
Scorsese is the
respect
greatest
for him.
American filmmaker. Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like turning that shit down, that's pretty. That's you could tell that's a decision made on principle. You know what I mean? You could tell it's like he doesn't want anything to do with like the Hollywood, you know,
Yeah,
shake hands and pretend to be friends bullshit. And I respect that. So.
yeah.
He also said anime was a mistake,
Martin
which is just a
Scorsese
fuck.
or
No, yeah, Miyazaki did. He said anime was a mistake.
I want why?
Yeah, because
Because
he
is
kind
it
of sees his work.
his
I mean,
films
yeah,
are considered anime?
yeah, they are. They are. But it's like different. You know what I mean? It's different than most anime. Okay, you know me. All right, I'm gonna try to say this as least pretentiously as possible. You know me. Okay, I'm an anime connoisseur. You know, I am. I know the good shit. I know the little hidden gems. Okay, that's the name of the game. Okay, look for the shit that's actually good. I think that most anime in existence, I think are total garbage. Like total fucking trash. Like completely garbage. And
That's not
so I
my take
go
on
ahead, go
it
ahead.
is that anime they repeat so many tropes and cliches that it just becomes all the same. Because I've watched what was it, Demon Slayer and Blue Exorcist, and I'm like, what's the difference between these two? Oh, except the characters, I guess. But really, they're kind of fighting demons, and there's just so many of those that are they're just fighting demons and stuff. It's just
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, kind. I mean, the structure is the same. You know what I mean? That's the thing with shonen especially. It's like especially is like shonen is like the it's like the world's biggest meme because it's like and I mean that in like the literal sense because it's like a genre that is trying to copy everything else as efficiently as possible. For the most part. There are some shonen anime which are like some of the best ever written. But the name of the game way to be successful in shonen is to copy everything else as efficiently as possible and over the course of different stories and different people make one story that is better than the others but in the same vein. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
It's a perfect example of if it works, it works. Keep doing it.
Right,
Keep
right.
pumping it out.
But I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't agree with that. I really don't. Especially with anime. So I specifically look for things that actually have something to say. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to sound like a dickhole. Really not. It's just for me, what I find entertaining is to have different ideas presented to me. You know what I mean? For me, it's a lot more difficult to just be entertained by things happening. I have to have like some kind of stimulation from it. So I don't know. I
Yeah.
I need to
Well,
relate this back to Hayao Miyazaki.
well, the
So
Studio Ghibli's works are very different from one another. They tell different
it's like an all
stories, and
tour.
yeah, they just
Yeah,
show you
it's
many
like an all
different.
tour work.
Yeah, they're relatable. The characters can be very relatable, and you can feel like you can relate to the characters very easily. In some
Well,
of them, you can.
that's not a Ghibli specific thing. I think it's just more that amount of care and detail and uniqueness that goes into their movies far surpasses that of anything else. You know what I mean? Like it's one person with a vision who really under like you know what I mean? It's one person with a vision who really wants their vision to be explained how they want it to be seen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everything else is restricted by these companies that you know what I mean? It happens with fucking movies all the time. It's the same type of shit that like
Well,
makes me hate Hollywood
Studio
movies.
Ghibli really cares about their works. A lot of the stuff you see from Hollywood nowadays is a lot of, oh, we just need money. Let's pump something out that'll work. Let's pop a
Oh,
bit.
it's Ghibli. Sorry, I hate to keep interrupting you, but I'm just having spontaneous thoughts. But um, fuck. Yeah. So, well, Ghibli actually has become very business-like recently. You know what I mean?
Well, because Disney took over.
Well, no, not even that necessarily. Just because it's become profitable. You know what I mean? Once it becomes profitable, investors become involved, and once investors become involved, they want to ensure that they have a product that sells. And then when you have a product that sells consistently because of someone's vision or whatever, then they're gonna have producers and people to try to intervene with the studio, intervene with the artist, intervene with the filmmaker. You know what I mean? It's just a consequence of business being mingled with art. And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, like it necessarily a bad thing, but most of the time, especially with huge productions, it is. So I don't know. The name of the game now in movies, and this isn't like an anime thing. This is just movies in general. The name of the game is not to create new ideas, not to experiment and make things that are different and interesting. It's to make the McDonald's equivalent of films to people sit down and they watch and they go, "Oh, that was good. That was fun." And then forget about it the moment they leave the theater. That's what movies are now, at least in the popular eye. So I don't know. It's not even that people don't care about like artistic integrity. It's just that the it's very easy to sell remakes and sequels and films that are
Nostalgia.
copies of other films and nostalgia bait and you know what I mean? Shit
Yeah.
like that is much easier to sell than something that's experimental or has something completely new to say. And you know, it's
Well, it's
perfect. There's
also
nothing wrong with just watching something because you're entertained by it. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just I don't know. It's I think it'll lead to the downfall
well,
kind
it's
of
also we're at that point where Hollywood doesn't want to take risks, and so you get a lot of more B movie uh, directors and producers making these very creative films. So like, what is it? South Korean films. Bong Joon Ho has started making some really
oh
great
yeah, yeah.
films because he takes risks. Hollywood does not want to take any more risks
Yeah,
because
man.
they're in it for money. They want profit, and risks can lose them a lot of money, or they can make them a lot of money, and it's not a gamble that they want to take.
Right, because if they can be assured that a remake of, let's say, Dumb and Dumber or something like that will
Ghostbusters.
sell, or Ghostbusters or whatever, or a sequel to fucking, whatever will sell more than some completely new thing, then they're just gonna do the tried and true thing. And I'm sure that's a thing in South Korea too. I just think that, I think there's a that kind of stuff is relatively new to America, and just foreign films in general are something that most people haven't really had much of an interest in until, relatively recently. I don't mean like, the last year. I mean like the last 20 years or so, but more so now than ever. Yes, like in the last couple of years, it's been getting more popularity than ever. And I think because of that, think about it like this, right? You're raised as an American, and you know all of these American films that you've been hearing about, seeing in your whole life. You know what I mean? It's just common knowledge, stuff that you just see through the natural process of absorbing the culture. You know what I mean? So you have that back catalog understood. Not that you've seen everything, but you just kind of understand it in a way. Uh, but whereas with South Korean films, or Mexican films, or Japanese animation, it's like there's this whole back catalog of thousands and thousands and thousands of things that have not been seen at all. You know what I mean? That you can just dive into and constantly find next good thing after next good thing after next good thing, like nonstop. And that's what I think draws people to it. I don't know. Sorry for the rant. It was just interesting.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. Um, let's go ahead and bring it back with like reviews, what we liked about the movie Porco Rosso. Uh,
Yeah.
so do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I kind of want to see your thoughts first because I also don't have a rating in mind, So,
Yeah.
not that I need one, but
You go real quick. I gotta go do something. I gotta go talk to someone's knocking on my door wanting something. So I'm gonna go.
uh, all
Just
right,
summarize
I'll
it when I
talk.
get back.
Just me. All right, I will. All right, Porco Rosso. I almost said like "hi guys" or whatever, pretending almost that I was talking to someone different. I don't know, but anyway, Porco Rosso. What can I say, guys? What can I say? It's a great movie. Everyone should watch it. Has all the hallmarks of a great Studio Ghibli movie. It's kind of slept on because it's not nearly as fantastical or fantastic. I don't know if fantastical would be the right word, but it's not nearly as fantasy based as Spirited Away or Princess Mononoke, or you know um, any of those other Studio Ghibli movies, or like Ponyo or whatever. Um, Great character writing, uh, great music. Although I don't remember if it's by Joe Hisaishi or not, but he makes great music. It's a known fact. Um, and it's probably my favorite Studio Ghibli movie of all time. Although, Grave of the Fireflies is up there, maybe even tied. I think thematically, Grave of the Fireflies is definitely much more, yes, impactful. They're very different movies. One is kind of a tragedy, and one is kind of a positive reinforcement type film in a way. Because for me personally, the experience I get from Porco Rosso is kind of a feeling of everything will be okay. Whereas from Grave of the Fireflies, I kind of get, uh, immeasurable doom, uh, pit of despair, my heart just died type vibes. But I don't know. As for a rating, I'd give it a good 8.5. I think 8.5. I feel like I give everything an 8 though. Like everything in existence.
Well, it's a good
I kind of
rating.
suffer.
It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, no, but I suffer from the paradox of, like, if it's good, and I'm like, okay, how good is it? Well, it's not a 10, right? but it's very good. But then I look at something else that I might have given an 8 and then be like, well, wait a minute. Is this thing nearly as good as that thing? And it's like, no, it's nowhere near. So it's like logically it should be lower. You know what I mean? Logically it should be like a 7 or a 6. So I don't know. I really think that rating movies doesn't really matter in a way. Like it's fun. It's fun to be like, oh yeah, if I had to give it a score on a
Well,
scale from 1 to 10.
I think it's just a simpler way of like reviewing a movie. Because you could say all the
Yeah,
good
it's
things and all the bad things about a movie, but if you just give them a number or like some sort of like thing they can like,
tangible thing.
yeah, something
Yeah,
easier
a
for them
thing
to
you can
understand.
understand at a glance. Yeah. That's the thing. You can explain what you liked about the movie and what you didn't like all you want. That's completely subjective, but you can't vicariously expose someone to the things that you took from the movie because what you see, what you absorb from the movie is entirely based on your perception. So it's completely subjective, which is also why I think ratings don't really matter. You know what I mean? Because I mean, in a way they do, because I kind of think if like, this might sound really dumb, but if a lot of people, like an overwhelming amount of people, like a ridiculous amount of people are like, no, this is really good, like actually, I feel like there's a trend. You know what I mean? Like there's definitely some correlation, but I also think that some movies can have a generally really bad reception, but also be fantastic movies for completely different reasons. Um, for example, Neil Breen. If you look at any of Neil Breen's movies on IMDb, they have like fucking like 2.5, 4, 1, incredibly low scores, but they're like actually some of the greatest comedies ever created. What I mean? So sometimes it's genuinely so bad that it's good. And I'm grateful. I know this is a rant, okay? This is a rant. It's gonna be short though. I'm ending it after I say this.
Well,
But
it almost sounds like you're
um
saying that Neil Breen is objectively good.
oh, I'm not
I
saying Neil Breen is objectively good. I'm just saying that I'm glad it hasn't been p- popularized as much as like The Room. You know what I mean? Because now it's like, I don't know. I'm a contrarian and that's very annoying. So I'll stop. I'll stop.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get into my sort of review. I know
All
reviews
right.
don't matter for you, but I think they do to other people. Like it's just
It's
a
fine.
simpler intake of information.
Have
So
some value.
I do like this movie a lot. The story is pretty good. It's just it seems, as I mentioned before, that it's almost like a bunch of side missions with like one big mission, like or one big goal, connecting them. But I do like the characters. The characters are really thought out, and of course, Porco Rosso is like one of my favorites from the whole movie. It's strange how much I like him, even though he doesn't seem like he's always a likable guy. Um, but I think I'm gonna give this movie an 8 because the animation is Ghibli quality, so it's beautiful. It's really good. The story is very different. It takes risks, where it's almost in a more realistic setting with magical elements. I like that
Mhm.
because I like a little bit of reality. Where Grave of the Fireflies is a beautiful film, but it's just too based in reality. Um,
Yeah, it's
and
harshly
it's just
realistic.
it's a tragedy. It's also really sad. It's
Yeah.
it's a good movie with a good message though. But I'm saying Porco Rosso gets an 8 in my opinion.
Okay. That's fair. It's fair.
And
Uh,
should we go ahead and say movies are subjective? You should go review this film yourself for the best review possible. I'm rusty on this though. I
you
remember
should review movies.
you should
Review movie.
review
Write
movies
down your
yourself.
review. Record. Write down your review and review the movie. And review the movie. And reviewing is subjective, so review the movie. Sorry, I'm I'm just goofing.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
that did
I'm
make me
rusty.
think of something though.
I'm rusty, man.
It's
I
okay.
had
It's
I
all right.
had I I used to have a phrase that I would say perfectly, I think.
I
At
think
the
it was this. I think it was. As always, movies are subjective. So wait, fuck.
you you
As
you
always,
had it. You had it.
as always, movies are subjective. So watch the movie yourself and tell us what you think in the comments. Something like that. Let us
Yeah.
know what you
Yeah.
think below.
Okay.
And then we'll be back with you next week with whatever.
Yeah. Okay. As Ty said, movies are subjective. You should go.
You should go review the movie yourself in its entirety right now. Do it right now.
Stop this
Post.
video. Don't hear about what we're talking about
Okay.
next week because we'll talk about it next week. You
Yes.
subscribe, we'll talk about it next week. You'll see it. But yeah, movies are subjective. The only way for you to don't listen to our opinions basically. You should go watch the movie yourself and think about how you feel about it. Do you
Yeah.
like it? Do
I'm
you not like it?
pretentious and stupid.
Yeah. Don't be a Ty. Be a me.
Don't be like me.
No, I'm just
Be exactly like Matt.
be
Just watch a
objective.
movie. Yeah, just watch a movie and go, you know what? I liked this. Instead of me. It's like, yeah, I hated this movie. Or, yeah, I liked this movie because it made no sense. That's me. That's basically me summed up in one sentence.
I guess I don't think
Wow.
that, but um
It was a joke. It was a joke. It was a
uh,
joke.
I'm just trying to think how I'm just so bad at this. Do what Ty
No,
said.
it's
Watch the
okay.
movie. It's movies are subjective. They change from person to person. One person may like this movie. One person may not. I don't like Perfect Blue that much.
Movies.
Ty likes
I love
Perfect
Perfect
Blue.
Blue.
Uh, and we might go back and review that at some point. I might watch it a couple more times and see how my opinion changes, or
I
I
bet
might
your
just make a
opinion would
little video.
change.
Yeah, I think it might change. But let's go ahead and talk about what we're gonna, or Ty's gonna tell us what movie he picked out for next week, and then we'll end the podcast.
Um, yeah, I actually did have one final thought before that. It's very short. I said Porco Rosso was an 8.5. That it's also my favorite Ghibli movie. This might not make any sense, but in my mind, there are Studio Ghibli movies that would receive a higher score than that. Example, I would say Grave of the Fireflies is a bona fide 10. It's not my favorite. It might sound hypocritical. It's just how I feel. And no, I will not elaborate. That's all. Okay, anyway.
Well, it's a personal
So,
review, so
yeah. So, anyway. So, for next week's movie, let me pull up the name of it actually. Um, there's two routes. Okay, we're having an ARG here, Matt. I'll let you choose. We have two very different extreme options we can take here. Okay. So, one is an assuredly good option. One is
one is
a
objectively
extremely
one is
one is
objectively
objectively
good.
safe. Yes. No, it's not objectively good. It's actually one of the most awful, like one of the most terribly put together, lazy and bad movies ever created. But that makes it one of my favorite movies of all time. So there's that one. And then there's this movie I haven't seen yet that I thought was really interesting.
Can I get titles for
Should we
these
go with?
films? Can I? Because
Well, one's a
I can't pick
director.
objectively good.
Okay,
Or
so there's a one. So I was thinking we could do I am here dot 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 now
I'm
by
guessing
Neil.
that's the objectively good one.
Yeah, that's the good one. Oh, we could do Belladonna of Sadness, which came out in 1973 and is a um it is an anime movie. Um Apparently it's very experimental and it's very sexual. Just
Okay.
based on explanations. that I've seen.
Okay. So it's either a Neil Breen comedy or a
Yeah.
really, or in your words, a really good. Wait, is the anime one the one you haven't seen? Because it almost sounds like you've
Yeah,
seen
the
it.
anime one's. No, the anime one is one I haven't seen. I just saw. Okay, so I saw a comment on. I was looking at some reviews, and one of them just said, "I swear it's not hentai, it's art." So, so I mean,
I picked
so
that one. I'm
pick that
ready.
one. Okay. All right. You can watch it for free on Amazon Prime Video.
Nice.
So, that's the choice. We have to do Neil Breen sometime, though. I swear to God, you are gonna love. Oh my God, you're gonna love every single one of them.
Okay. I I
All
guess
right.
we're doing
Wait,
that
can I?
movie next week, or
Yeah, it's called Belladonna of Sadness.
Belladonna of Sadness.
Yep, yep.
Was there something else you wanted to mention before we end it?
Yeah, I wanted to plug my music.
Go ahead. I'll have it in the not the comments, but the description.
Yeah.
You send me a link.
Okay. So yeah, music. Hopefully, we're gonna implement it into the podcast, which will be awesome. So if you're interested in hearing some interesting music, kind of ambient, kind of heavy music, then it'll be in the description. Thank you for
Click
listening.
it, or else. Let's
Yeah,
end it.
click it or else.
Bye.
Right.
Listen to music
Bye.
or not. I don't care. He cares. Listen to it. Yes. Bye.